Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick video here. I have to apologize, the audio and video quality I think are going to be pretty poor, but I'm trying to get something out there real quick. This is going to be in a newsletter that we're putting out. I'll try to have that newsletter link below after I get it published. But I want to kind of show something that we're working on, and I feel like this is the best way to do it, to get it out there real quick. So here we go. Alright, all that junk here, I'm going to show what I want to talk about is this circuit board that we've been working on. We've been through a couple iterations of this, and what this is an add-on board for the Freeplay CM3. If you don't know, the Freeplay CM3 looks like this. The add-on board would actually go back here and kind of pop in over the top of the compute module. I think we're going to try to include some headers with this. You can kind of see, if I can focus this, that there's this 6-pin header here and a 6-pin header here. One little problem that we encountered is that the top, if we use the top pin of this one and this one, it won't fit in the shell. So you'll notice that this has 5-pin header on each side that actually get used, and for this add-on board, these other 2 pins aren't necessary anyway, the pins there and there. This one definitely isn't, but this one is usable, and we'll get to that in a minute. So you see it kind of goes on there, and obviously this circuit board isn't populated, there's no parts on it. I grabbed these really quick just to get an idea, but these are some other revisions of it. You can see like one of the things we're trying to do here is use like this PSP analog stick, and this one's not fully wired up, but you can see they'd go to these solder points. Similar board layout, just some tweaks here. This board also gives us 3 extra buttons, 1, 2, 3, and I think basically this one's not worth showing. It's kind of got some of the same stuff, but it kind of all goes, this is the main thing I wanted to show here, is how it goes in here. So you obviously, hard to do with one hand, but you know, you're playing, you got your L and R buttons, but now this also gives access to a couple extra buttons back here that you could use for like L2 and R2, and then also, I don't know if you can see it in there, but that footprint there also would let you add a button here if you wanted to add this type of button there, or you have access to this button here. Now these, in actuality, these 2 buttons are connected in parallel, so it would be either this one or this one. They'd have the same function, but the idea here is that you could use this as a hotkey, and it's kind of recessed down in there so you wouldn't accidentally hit it. But the hotkey functionality is to like hold that down and then hit whatever, like select to exit your emulator or something. Right now, as you might know, in the Freeplay 0 and the Freeplay CM3, we use the power button as like a hotkey toggle. So while you're playing, if you tap that and release it, then you can hit start to exit the emulation. Or, you know, whatever, there's other, you can do like save states and stuff like that with the hotkeys. The other thing that this gives you, I kind of mentioned, we get the analog stick here. I'm not really going to show off gameplay of this right now. I was just kind of experimenting with some stuff, but yeah, the analog stick does work. We modified the driver that does all the buttons, and so you can add parameters to that to support the analog stick, and like I showed you here, then the analog stick internally just gets wired up. These would be plus and minus voltage, and then this would be the actual data that comes out. So they get wired to these little analog to digital converter chips that the button driver code can read. So that all works pretty well. Basically, the way that we're talking about selling this is populated with the 3 buttons. Well, this one's not the best example because it's not where the button would go, but it'd go up here. 1, 2, 3 buttons. If you wanted to, you could add a button here. Maybe that would be an option. It would come with 2 of these 4 analog to digital converter chips populated. It might be an option to add 2 more, but really our thought is that you need 2 of them for this. You need X and Y, but there's not really another place to put another analog stick. But at the same time, I don't really want to limit you guys to you know, what our thought is. Maybe somebody can come up with a way to put something on the back here, maybe remove the speaker and do something in there. None of these things have really panned out in what we've done, but you guys keep amazing us with new ideas, so we kind of put that as an extra expansion. The other thing is, you can kind of see here, it says on your fan, and there's a spot for a fan to go. And if you look in here, there's actually a fan in that one. We don't usually get people that are concerned about overheating. It's not something that happens a lot, but doing certain things with this machine can cause it to hit that higher temperature. And you know, some people have asked if we had a way to put in fan, and this is going to be a way for you to add a fan. I think what we're going to do is sell this board at first provisionally, just to see what people, if people want it, what people do with it. It's definitely going to be for advanced users, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come without the fan, but we would either provide the fan separately or just provide a link to where you can get the fan that fits it. And anyway, then the 2 options would be, I kind of started to mention it before, but you just wire up the fan to be on all the time. You could wire it to an external switch, maybe you can mount a switch somewhere else, or you could, when it's like this, and I can kind of show you this, I don't know, maybe you can't see in there, I do have some other photos of this on our website, but anyway, that pin there, you see it's labeled 41, that's GPIO 41, and then there's one right next to it labeled 40, and it doesn't go anywhere. 40 would be what you could use for the fan control, and then you could just, after you attach this, you could run a little wire from that pad there down to pin 40, GPIO 40, which is that pin that's not going to be used down there. So that's what, I don't think you can see it in here, but maybe you can see that white wire. That's what that white wire is doing. And it gives you the ability to say, like, run somebody else's script. I found a script out there that I was experimenting with that just sits in the background and monitors the CPU temperature, and if it gets over a certain temperature, it could turn on the fan, and then when the temperature gets low enough again, it could turn it back off. So you could you could have it, or you could have it menu system where you could just turn on the fan from the menu if you wanted, or like I said, you could just wire it up to have like a switch somewhere. You could maybe mount a switch anywhere you'd want, really, and then, you know, turn the fan on and off that way if you started getting the overheating icon or something like that. Again, it's not really a concern for most users, but there have been people that have asked about it. So that's kind of the idea. The main reason for this board is to support the analog input and the extra R2, L2, and extra hotkey button up here. So that's our thing, and really kind of looking forward to just throwing this out there and seeing what people do with it. Again, this is really targeted for a more advanced builder that wants to do some extra mods, something like this maybe. This PSP 1000 stick is not the easiest to fit inside of here, but it does fit. From when I did this, we had to cut down a little bit of the plastic that surrounds these start and select buttons. And this one is like the only one we've really done, so obviously we did some extra cutting just to see where we could fit it. At one time we tried to move it over a little bit, so anyway, this hole isn't perfect, but it's an example of something you could do. You can definitely tighten up this hole so that this cap would cover the whole hole, but you can see where the throw needs to be, and then you can see where we cut out more to be able to try to move it around a bit anyway. Anyway, it does fit, but it's not, it's going to be an advanced install to do something like that. But definitely curious to throw it out there, see if people are interested in buying it at the price we're setting it to, and see what you guys do with it. All right, talk to you guys later.